Hello, welcome. This is a quick overview of how to make a quiz in LearnUCS. As I said, this is a quick overview because we've got a number of FAQs on this in the FAQs space. Also the Blackboard FAQs, which you will find in wherever you are on the on-demand learning centre. If you click in there, has got a whole section on assessing learners. And within here, they have things such as the Grade Centre, which is a test, surveys and pools, creating a test, setting options, question types, auto regrading, all the information in the sense of a negative marking, all the different types of questions that you can add. So they produced a vast amount of information to support them. So we're really encouraging staff to look at those and then talk to us. As opposed to us reinventing the wheel and building lots. Anyway, as we come in, this is a landing page. You'll of course see your own landing page. I'm going to get that up there. Just going to move that way up there. And what I'm going to do is go into a sandpit, one of my spaces, and just walk it through. I'm not going to focus on a vast amount of detail. I want to give you the bigger picture. So it's a sort of a 1 minute overview of how the quiz engine is a sort of a 3-stage or 3-phase approach. So I'm going to go into assessment. This is where I want to put the quiz, so I go in and have a little look around and think, right, okay, that's great, I want to put a quiz in there. I now turn, make sure my edit mode is on, and then in this area I now have this set of options appearing up here, one of which is assessments, and I'm going to go for test. I call it a quiz, or we tend to call it quiz, but Blackboard tools and tests. If I click on tests, it then asks me the question, would I like to use a test that has already been made but not released, or do I want to create a new test? And I'm going to select, because I'm going to select create a new test. And then it would like us to fill in the information. I'm going to call this history because I've already got one up there. So this is history quiz 2, description, intro quiz 4. All of this could be changed later on, so I'm not getting too stressed about the description or the instructions. I can reset these later, but this is creating the little bits of detail that I'll need around history quiz 2 to build my questions on. So once I submit, I now come to what they call the test canvas. So this is my space. This is the quiz unpublished for history quiz 2. As I see, I can edit what I've added already there, and it's displaying what can be seen. At the moment, though, there's no questions added to it because they're all blank here. Yeah, that's where the questions will be listed and where you can do some rearranging if you so wish. You've got 4 options. One is to put a question in. One is to use questions from other sources. And we use this is to create question sets and question blocks. If you over here got question pools in, that's really useful. So if you're going to do a lot of quizzes or you've got a lot of questions, have a chat with us, buy us coffee and donuts, and we'll work through with you what's the best way of managing the whole process so that it's sustainable and scalable and you choose what you want to do. Upload questions, which is a nice way, again, if you click on this, there's a way, how do I get in it? Many publishers, many from your HEA subject centres or whatever, will publish them as either CSV files, all sorts of things, and this is where you can upload questions from other publishers as well. And you've got question settings. This is an area I always like to go in first because this sets the canvas really. So it's a bit annoying for me that I always put this as the button on the right hand side. I think this should be the first button. Now, feedback, I can provide feedback for all individual answers. So for something like a multiple choice where you've got questions with say 4 answers, if they put A, I can give unique feedback to that. If they go for B, I can give unique feedback just for those that selected B, and I can build it up. So this really extends the feedback options. But I am actually going to go, if I want to add images in the answers, yeah, then we come into all the settings around partial credits, specifying if you wanted negative marking, so it's not by default, but if I wanted negative marking, I would select that option. which is new in this system, we couldn't do it in the previous one. And then how I want to display. I tend to write my questions, and you can see patterns emerging from them, so you can mix up the numbering of it, etc. But that can be changed later. So it really, I think, if the key thing, because it influences the form that you need to fill in for individual questions, is to make sure you've got feedback, images decided. I'm not actually going to put any metadata in because this is a small quiz. I don't need categories or anything like that. And to be honest, it's not the best way of managing those anyway, so that's worth a conversation with us. And I'm not going to have negative marking, but once I'm happy with that, I'll click on submit. So I've now set up my questions. I now want to bring a question in, and as I say, I've got lots of different ones. Yeah, they're all listed there. I'll go for the old workhorse and multiple choice. Click on multiple choice. And now it would simply like me to fill in, give it the question. So I put an actual question in here. As you see, you can include things such as video files or images or whatever as part of your stimulus. I'm not going to allow partial credit. I'll show questions in a random order. Now, then after you've done your options, now you've actually got to put your answers in, and it goes from 4 to 20. However, you can always remove a question if you need less than 4, i.e. 3 or 2. That's not there, and then you decide when you. I'm going to make it the sky is blue. A really poorly designed question. Okay, and the sky is green. I could put it down and think, well, actually, if I wanted to go for partial credit, I could then allow them to get to some sort of marks associated with black under certain conditions. So where it can go from being very objective to more under certain conditions, yes or no, or a little bit more subjective. I can use partial credit and feedback to derive that if I think about the question. Yeah, and then I would say, well, actually, the partial credit, if they went for black, as a percent, I would give it as 50%. It could be dark, it could be night time. And then that's the correct answer there. And then because it's now saying that the ones that aren't correct, I want to give partial credit. If they put green, I'm going to give them nothing. If they put sky, I'm going to give them nothing. Actually, then I can put generic feedback in. Because I didn't decide on individual ones, I can put generic, and I can put in for the correct answer. And then I can start. Now this is where I can start to link it to files or web links or things like that, or put in videos, display images within the page, and I can do it the same for incorrect. So this is the cost to you, not the system, the art of designing good questions with good feedback loops that are appropriate. And that's it, my question's in now. You can see I've set it for 10, I think 10 might be a bit generous, so I'm actually going to put that down for 5, not 56. 5 marks, so I'm going to quickly change that. I've now got it. If there's many in there, I could rearrange them, put them in different orders if I so wish, and I'll carry on adding questions. Now it's just go to create another question in, and it goes, and would carrying on, and that builds it up. And once I click on OK, it takes me back to this create space where we originally came, but now it notes there's a quiz available. Sorry, there's a quiz in the system, or a test in the system called History Quiz 2, which I've not used. I've not deployed it before, so it's available. So instead of creating a new one, I can use that. And in fact, I'm now going to come out and look and say that in this area here, to start all over again, I'm going to say in assessments, I'm going to put a quiz in. I'm going to put test in. I'm going to use that section there because I've already built it. I'm going to use that test. And now I'm back here. And what it has done, as you note, it's already pulled the descriptor information I originally wrote across. So I can, just as I say, well, I can change it. This is the final stage. This is the bit then that once you've done this, the students will be able to complete the quiz and the grades will go into the gradebook, etc. So just walking you through this, you've got test availability. So if I say yes, now students will be able to see it and do it. If I go add a new announcement, yes, it will put an announcement automatically on this course to say this quiz is available. And if students, for whatever reason, have selected an email or an email digest with all their announcements, they'll get an email alert coming through from notifications. Do I want to give them multiple attempts? I can say, well, yes or no. It depends. Is it subjective, is it formative, or is it summative? All of those different things that you need to think through about the test. And this is really then falls through here. I'm going to say, well, actually, it is, but I'm only going to give you 2 attempts. Yeah, I'm not going to force completion. So once started, I have to force it. That's strongly associated when they use them in IT labs for set quizzes. Set timers, again, I can set a timer, which I'd again associate that with the invigilated exams. I've got my display dates, so I can say, well, actually, I'm only going to display this till the end of this week at 11 o'clock, the end of next week at 11 o'clock, and that's all that is available. If they haven't done it by then, it disappears, and I would be able to see if they've done it or not within the gradebook. I can set a password if I so wish. If this was being strongly associated with summative, so it's being marked, I can set due dates. So therefore, if it, and I hadn't set, within different display dates here, the way it can be marked as done but late. Under option 4, we've got the self-assessment options. Well, do I want to include it in the gradebook or hide it? If it's purely self-assessment, you'd hide it. I don't need to know the lecturer. As a lecturer, well, it's purely self-assessment. This is just them going through it. So a scenario, again, maybe getting them to practice or getting them familiar with the question styles if they were going to go and do a quiz or a test as part of their summative work at the end of module or sometime during a module. I might give them a number of test quizzes that they could do just so they get aware of the question style and the way it's been delivered. But I want to know the results because I'm like that. So here, oops, that's fine. Feedback, because I haven't actually given, but this is whilst you'll decide or tell them, do they get the feedback boxes you've done with all that lovely rich feedback? So yes, I want them to have that. Do I want to see what they submitted? Yes. And do I want to see the correct answer? Yes. And do I want to see the score for the quiz and their individual question? Yes. If it was summative, I might not give them the correct answer. I might not show them what they submitted. I might not give them the feedback. I just give them the score. Or I might not even give them the score because it's unratified. They've just done it, and that will be it till they get to the exam boards. Presentation modes, I can either do them at once or I can do them one at a time. I could do them one at a time, I could prohibit backtracking. So they're really useful again for invigilated exams conditions, which we don't recommend this system for, not because there are any issues with the system, but more with the way that the other support mechanisms that we'll need in place. But we have other ways of doing lots of students in a class space doing objective questions. We have another system for that, so just give us a shout. And once I'm happy with all of those, I click on submit. And the quiz is now appearing down here as available there. So it's now appeared. And if we go to turn that off, which is great. I'm now just going to log out of here. I'm now going to log in. As a student, and who's on this course, they're going to go into Sandpit 2. They can now see there's an announcement here that says the test has been posted. In fact, they can see in there as they land in the course in the Sandpit 2 module, there's a test posted, so they can simply click on that, and that would take them to, yeah, okay, it's been posted there, fine. Do they want to go to that area? Click on go. Did I click on go correctly? And they're in, but I should go in the other way. This is on the test system, which why it doesn't work. as well. So that would be the announcement that they would see, and they'd be fine. But if they go into assessments, they can click on History Quiz 2, and then they're ready to begin. And that would be it. And then there should be the student experience where they could, he's muddled them all up, as you can see. It's noted that I've done something, it's auto-saved their responses, and they can save and submit if they so wish there, or they can save all the answers, but not actually submit it. Okay, I hope you find that useful. That's the overview of making the quiz. So it's actually quite straightforward. The hard work, of course, is to think about the questions and the feedback and how you wish to deploy it, and have drink cups of coffee with us to make sure that if you're deploying a number of quizzes, we've got something that's scalable in place for you. Okay, thank you very much.